everybody. So now it's time for book time. And today for book time, we are going to be reading this book. So I wonder, what do you notice about the cover? So I noticed on the cover that it looks like a bed, a frog. It looks like he has a pile of clothes on the floor. And I also noticed that there's a window with snow in it. So the title of this book is called Froggy Gets Dressed by Jonathan London, and it's illustrated by Frank Remkewicz. So the author is the person who writes the words in the book, and the illustrator is a person who draws the pictures, like the frog in the bed, in the window, and the pile of clothes that you see on the floor here. Froggy Gets Dressed by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank Remkewicz. It was cold. Froggy woke up and looked out the window. Snow, snow, he sang. I want to play in the snow. So there he is, all excited. He's pointing out the window saying, snow, 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 and that he wants to go play in it, right? And I wonder, what do you notice about this cover, about this page? So I see another bed, and it looks like that this is his mom and his dad. His dad's sleeping away, and the mom's awake, and it looks like she's telling him something. Because look at his face. How do you think he's feeling with what she's telling him? Maybe he's feeling upset, right? Go back to sleep, Froggy, said his mother. Don't you know? Frogs are supposed to sleep all winter. Wake up when the snow melts. So frogs are kind of like bears. When it's winter, they hibernate and they don't wake up. Hibernating means that they go to sleep in their house and they don't wake up until winter is over. So Froggy's mom is trying to tell him, like, we're frogs, we hibernate. Go back to bed. We don't wake up until the snow melts. But he doesn't look too happy about that, right? No, no, cried Froggy. I'm awake, awake. I want to go out and play in the snow. So what's he doing? Sure enough, he's jumping out of bed. Look at his face, all happy and everything. And the mom's like, it looks like maybe she gave in to him, just wanting to go play in the snow. So Froggy put on his socks, zoop, put on his boots, zoop, put on his hat, zat, tied on his scarf, zwit, tugged on his mittens, zoom, and flopped outside in the snow. Flop, flop, flop. So before he went outside, he made sure to put his socks on, his boots, his hat, his scarf, and his mittens. So I'm wondering, when you go outside and it's cold outside, what are some things that you put on to keep warm? Because that's why Froggy put those things on, right? So he could stay warm. So what are some things that you put on to stay warm? So some things that I put on so I can stay warm is kind of like Froggy. I make sure to put my socks on. I make sure to put my scarf on. I put all my clothes on. I put a hat on. And I make sure that I'm bundled up really, really warm because it's cold outside. And Miss Mother doesn't like being cold. So I try to put everything on to keep myself warm. So that's what Froggy did. So I wonder what you notice about this page. So you see, it looks like Froggy's mom is yelling out the window. I wonder why she's yelling out the window. And then here's Froggy. He's looking down at his body, right? So I wonder why he's looking at his body. Froggy! Called his mother. What? Yelled Froggy. Did you forget to put something on? Froggy looked down. Oops, cried Froggy. I forgot to put on my pants. So what do you see? What did he do? So it looks like he came back inside. He's taking his mittens off, his scarf off, his hat off, his shoes off, and he put his pants back on. He flopped back inside. Flop, flop, flop. He tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat, pulled off his boots. He left his socks on and slipped his pants on. Zip. Then he pulled on his boots. Zip. Put on his hat. Zat. Tied on his scarf. Zwip. Tugged on his mittens. Zoom. And flopped back outside into the snow. Flop, flop, flop. There he is, putting all his clothes back on, his shoes, his hat, his scarf, and his gloves, and then he went back outside to play. And what do we see happened? His mom is calling for him again, right? But he looks like he's just playing with the snow, so I wonder what he forgot. Let's find out. Froggy! Called his mother. What? Yelled Froggy. Did you forget to put something on? Froggy looked down. Oops, he cried. I forgot to put on my shirt. And your coat, added his mother. So what do you think he's going to do? He forgot his shirt and his coat. What do you think he's going to do? I think he might go back inside, right? Let's find out. He flopped back inside. Flop, flop, flop. Tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat. He left his pants, boots, and socks on and buttoned up his shirt. Zit, zit, zit. Then he snapped on his coat. Snap. Put on his hat. Zat. Tied on his scarf. Zwit. Tugged on his mittens. Zoom. And flopped back outside into the snow. Flop, flop, flop. So he had to do all of this work so he could put on his shirt and his coat. He had to take off his mittens. He took off his hat, took off his scarf, put on his shirt, put his coat on, and then he had to put his hat back on, his scarf back on, and his gloves back on. That seems like a lot of work, right? For things that you forget in the snow to wear. And what happened? His mom called him again. What could he be missing this time? He has his jacket, he has his shirt, he has his pants, he has his socks, he has his boots, he has his hat, his mittens, and his scarf. So I wonder, what could she be asking from him now? Let's find out. Froggy! Called his mother. What? Yelled Froggy. Did you forget to put something on? Froggy looked down. He had on his mittens. He had on his scarf. He had on his coat. He had on his shirt. He had on his pants. He had on his boots. He had on his socks. He reached up. Yep, he had on his hat. What could he be missing? What do you think he's missing? His mom said he's forgetting something, but it seems like he has everything. So let's find out what is he missing. Your underwear! His mother laughed. Oops, cried Froggy, looking more green in the face than looking more red in the face than green. Oh, look at his mom's all laughing at him and look at his face. And look at these people back here, the animals. What does it look like they're doing? They're laughing, right? Maybe he's embarrassed because his mom just like yelled that out loud for everybody to know that he forgot his underwear. I wonder what would you do if your mom yelled out that you forgot your underwear? I would feel embarrassed. I would feel like him. I'll be all red and my knees all in and my body all closed off because my mom just yelled out to everybody that I had no underwear on. So, of course, what does he have to do so he can get his underwear on? He had to take everything off, right? So he can put his underwear on. He flopped back inside, flop, 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 tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, unsnapped his coat, unbuttoned his shirt, unzipped his pants, pulled off his boots, took off his socks. He left his hat on and slipped his long johns on with a zap of elastic. There he is. And so now that he took all of his stuff off, put his underwear on, what do you think he has to do now? He has to put everything back on, right? So he can go outside. Then he put on one sock, zoop, put on one boot, zoop, tugged on one mitten, zoom, started to tug on the other. Uh-oh, what happened to his face? He started to tug on the other. How did he think he's feeling? Maybe a little tired, right? I would feel tired. That's a lot of work. And let it drop and said, I'm too tired. There he is. He let the mitten drop. And what did he do? What do you see him doing? He crawled back into bed. And how do you think the mom feels about that? She's probably like, I knew it was going to happen. There's his all his clothes that he was trying to put on all on the floor because he just decided I'm just gonna go to bed. This is too much work. Putting on your hat, your jacket, your scarf, your mittens, your boots, your socks. It's a lot of work putting all that clothes on so you can stay warm when it's cold outside. Zzz. Good night, Froggy. There he is, asleep in his bed. The end. So that's the end of our book. Froggy gets dressed, and then in it, Froggy wakes up and decides that he wants to go play in the snow. So he decides to put all of these different clothes on him, but every time he goes, finally gets outside to play in the snow, he discovers that he forgot something. So I was wondering, what is something that you would do to help yourself remember if you're like Froggy and you kept forgetting everything that you needed? What would you do to remind yourself that you need those things? And I was also wondering if Froggy decided to put all of his stuff on and finally go outside with everything that he needed, what do you think he would do in the snow? Create your own book of how you get dressed to go outside and share the process that you have to do of putting your hat on, putting your scarf on, your boots, your socks, the order that you have to put those things on so you can go outside and play, and share with us your book on Flipgrid, and we look forward to seeing all y'all's videos.